Hello, today we are looking at the IGCSE Cambridge Music Listening Paper regarding our world music focus for 2024, that being Latin American music. So I have previously done a video on the recent June 2024 past paper series regarding section B3 and choral music, so please check that out to get yourself familiar with what Cambridge may want to ask you about choral. And then today we are deep diving into samba. So this is section B3 out of the June 2024 paper 1-3 past paper, and this is the one and only example of Cambridge asking samba questions. So this is our inside scoop into what Cambridge would like us to know and what kind of questions they may want to ask. So out of your paper, remember that section B3 counts 10 marks. So up until now, we've had section A1 that counts 8 marks, section A2 that counts 8 marks, section B1 that counts 6 marks, section B2 that counts 6 marks, and now section B3 counts 10 marks. So a little bit more focused in our world music section is obviously on the world focus for the year. This year being the beautiful Latin American genres of choral and samba. So we're going to hop right into our questions. We have a nice bar-coded exam extract and paper for us that has been made available just recently on the Cambridge School Support Hub. So please check the link in the description below for access to that support hub if you are a Cambridge affiliated teacher or tutor. So now you will see that they say to us, you will hear an extract of samba music with 2 contrasting sections. They do tell us read through questions 14 to 16, so only 3 questions here, not a lot, but we do have to answer them more thoroughly and with good insight. You'll see question 14 says, what features or which features of the first section are typical of samba? The question is worth 4 marks. Then it says name and describe the music of the second section. That's worth 3 marks. Then our final question, it says what is the typical performance and social context for samba? And that is something that won't necessarily come from the listening extract that we're about to deep dive ourselves into, but this is from the context notes and everything that Cambridge has outlined for us of what we need to know about samba. So I have previously made a little, let's call it Google Slides / PowerPoint video type resource for you all to access, and I have linked that YouTube video below in the description. So please go ahead and familiarize yourself with the contents of that video, because those are the things that Cambridge specifically outlines for us that we need to know about our world music focus for 2024 for both the sub-focuses of choral and samba. So here we go, we're about to deep dive into samba. Let's enjoy our listening.
Music B3, World Focus Latin American Music. You will hear an extract of samba music with 2 contrasting sections. Read through the questions now. Now listen to music B3 and answer the questions.
There we go. A beautiful extract of samba music, and as I have said before, I am so glad that this year, 2024, we have Latin American music as a world focus, and it's actually very beautiful if you're about to write this exam in November 2024, just because we actually now have an example in the one and only June 2024 series of what Cambridge would expect us to answer on the World Music Focus. So let's go ahead and answer our questions. So the very first question, what features of the first section are typical of SAMBA? So I think we're going to start there. As you all know, in your Cambridge IGCSE music listening paper, you will get 4 playings of each of the extracts. No different here with the world music section, section B3. So of course, by the 4th and final playing, you will have to wrap up all your answers, but definitely by the first playing, you can already start jotting down some things, and you don't have to go ahead and answer the questions in order. So question 14, 15, 16, you don't have to take it in that order. I will swap some things a little bit around here. I think we're going to first answer question 14, then we'll see where we head from there. So we definitely have a very dense texture here. A lot is happening. We have polyrhythms going on, so it's very polyrhythmic in nature. And there is a continuous semiquaver pattern going on there. And I mean, even that is true for Shoro, for example. But it's definitely true here, so we can go ahead and put that down. And we can go ahead and say that the semiquaver pattern is actually played by the pandero here, or we can go ahead and mention the ganza or the repenike. But if you don't mention that and you just talk about the semiquaver pattern, you definitely will get a mark there. There is also definitely a large percussion section in this extract in section A. And it plays repeated rhythms, or we can call it plays ostinato patterns, or it plays an ostinato. Typical of the samba, this section is also highly syncopated, and it is in duple meter. So we're feeling that 1, 2, 1, 2. So we can definitely go ahead and say that we are feeling this in duple meter or 2/4 time. And if you didn't notice, we have a very fast tempo here. It's very energetic in style and in character. So any of those 4 facts will get you your 4 marks here. You do have a couple of lines on which to write these. Do be sure to address those basics. The energy, the duple meter, the semiquaver runs. Anything other than that, that's great that you may mention, but do make sure that you are at least outlining 4 basic facts here that are typical of samba. Then I think I'm going to go ahead and skip question 15. We'll take another listen to the extract and then answer that. We're going to skip to 16. What is the typical performance and social context for samba? So this is something that the listening doesn't give us, but we can go ahead and answer this. So I mean, in any of the silences, we can answer this question. We can even answer this question after the 4th and final playing, because we don't need a playing or listening for this question. So here, Cambridge gives you a few lines on which to write down 3 facts, so to speak, but I think they're also just wanting to see how much you know. So if you have a clear understanding, you'll definitely get your 3 marks there. They do say in the memo that if you have several correct points, whatever several means, so not just 2, but more than that, you will get 2 marks. And if you have 1 or 2 relevant points, you will get 1 mark. So when Cambridge does ask a question like this in your World Music Focus section, whether it be, you know, for your Shoro or Samba, because who knows what they will ask in November 2024, but if they do ask a question like this, the mark allocation is not, you know, the best framework from which to work. It almost reminds me of an AS level question in the ASA section of the paper, because there they really do expect at times me to answer in an essay like or paragraph type form, and then they give you a holistic mark, not based on how many facts you have, but based on your understanding. So this is also that. Now they don't tell us that that is what they expect of us, but I'm telling you that this is what they expect of you in a question like this. It has nothing directly to do with the actual listening, but has everything to do with your understanding of samba and what you have studied according to the outline of what Cambridge has given us. So this is also true for your set work. So for this year, it is either the Beethoven or the Wagner. Same thing. If something comes up and it doesn't relate to the actual listening, but more about the context of what you have studied based on the piece, whether it be based on geography or whether it be based on the life of a specific composer or stylistic things that has nothing to do with your actual listening, please go ahead and write it in a holistic way. Give more than 3 facts. So definitely I would say at least double your factual knowledge here. Now of course I give you a few lines on which to write, and if you're going to write what you know about samba and the context of social and performance contexts, then you do need more space than that. So you see that white space at the bottom of those lines. Use it writing pen. Make sure that you do writing pen, because when Cambridge scans in these things for moderation, anything like that, pencil doesn't come out. Also, don't write in the margin, because that part doesn't get scanned in. So if you write anything there, the marker will not see it, and then of course the moderator will not see it. So just be sure to write within your page, even if you're going to go over the lines underneath the white section of the paper. Just write neatly in your ink and don't go over the margin. Okay, so that is my advice to you on these types of interesting questions, even at IGCSE level. This is a type of question that you would usually see a bit later on, like I said, at AS level, and there students are already prepared to write in a certain way, whereas they're throwing this now at you a little bit earlier, and you may or may not have been prepared to write in this way. But this is just a little heads up from me to you, so I hope that that is helpful for you. So let's answer this question about the typical performance as well as social context for Samba. What we do know about Samba is that it is performed in the pre-Lenten street carnival celebrations, which culminates in that week, or actually the 3 days preceding Ash Wednesday, which is in the Catholic calendar. These Samba dancers, or the Sambistas as we call them, they dance through the streets followed by batteries of very loud percussion, so they almost call it deafening percussion, as we heard there in the second section of the Samba extract. Now the percussion section is what we refer to as the bateria, or if we have sections of percussion, batteries. So Samba schools also compete for prizes based on their music performance, dance choreography, as well as their elaborate costumes, very colorful, very flamboyant. Think of the movie Rio that came out in 2011. Lots of Samba music going on there, lots of carnival type things. This is what we are talking about here. Each school's performance here would be surrounded by a central theme, typically one that will promote a Brazilian national identity. And it will revolve around historical, political events, and so on and so forth. And by the mid-1920s, we know that there were actually recordings of Samba music. And it was played on radio stations as well. So it wasn't just a thing that you could see live, but it was also something that you could listen to, sort of out of context and in a faraway place, so to speak. So technically, that is a mouthful, way more than 3 facts. But if you do have an understanding, even if it's not as dense as what I've just spoken about now, if you do have an understanding that is clear and you know what you're talking about, you will get your 3 marks here. When it comes to these types of stuff, it's also a lot more about how you write than what you write. And I am careful when I say that, because of course what you write is important. Don't write nonsense. But here it is really about how you come to the fore as a writer. Now, of course, this is not an English paper. It's not a creative writing paper. It's not a history essay paper. But this is somewhere where if you're a good writer, you can definitely lean into your skills here. Write nicely. Usually Cambridge in music at the IGCSE level just expect you to write a sentence here or even a word here. But here they are expecting much more, and please let your academic self come out here. Anything that you have learned from other subjects regarding how to paragraph something, how to sort of write your opinion in more of a free-flowing essay type way, not emotionally but academically, please use it here. I know that this question is only worth 3 marks, but all the marks that you can get at this level and at any level in any exam is well worth going the extra mile for. So I hope that you do that, and I hope that this is quite helpful for you. So we have not yet answered question 15, which says name and describe the music of the second section. So we will dive back into our listening and then we'll answer this final question.
Music B3, second playing.
so let's answer our final question. We are going to describe the music of the second section. So definitely this question says two things to us. It says name and then describe the music of the second section. So firstly, we need to name what it is according to what we know from our context given to us by Cambridge themselves. So we're going to name the section, and that will be 1 mark, obviously. Then we're going to give 2 other facts describing this music of the section. So technically speaking, if you have gone through all your Cambridge notes, if you have studied nicely, we know that the second section here is the bridge section, also known as the break, the little stop, or the paradinha. So any one of those will get you your 1 mark there for naming the section. Then we need to go ahead and describe what this bridge section actually is musically. So here the main samba groove stops, and there's more of a call and response type phrase, or actually phrases, because there's more than just one phrase. So very world music type thing there. We have call and response. The lead repenike plays the calls, and then the bateria, which is the percussion section, or the rest of the ensemble, now the rest of the percussion ensemble, will form the response. So they respond here in unison, all at the same time. So we have our call, we have our response. Now the responses are not always the same as the call. It's not always a direct copy, so that is definitely a nice fact to put down there. And then for sure, when it comes to rhythms, there's a whole rhythmic variety going on here. So we have a wide variety of rhythms used in the bridge section of the samba extract. So there we have it. That is our samba example of what Cambridge may want to ask us in the November 2024 series regarding the world music focus of this year, which is of course Latin American music, if it wasn't made obvious by now. So I hope that this has helped you prepare for your upcoming Cambridge Music Listening exam. All the best for your final preparation.